I think the thing is, because I know it's going to be good. Like, I know it's not just something that's going to be a simple, like, you know, oh, here's an idea here, like, and it's executed. It's like, oh no, this could be game changing, like seriously game changing. And it so and like we say a lot of things are simple, but this is
beyond simple. This is like so simple. I think people are going to think that it can't possibly work, and I know it can, and I know it does. So.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Well Shit. It really is that simple. I'm Claire.
And I'm Serena. On this podcast, we help you to understand about your 12 universal needs, why they are currently not being well met,
how to meet them in ways that work for you, and how to consistently do so in quick, easy, and simple ways that fit seamlessly into your life.
We'll also help you to understand how doing so will have a positive ripple effect in literally every area of your life.
If you like what you hear, sign up for more support with meeting your needs with your weekly Universal Needs notes at theuniversalneeds.com.
And enjoy the show.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, everyone.
So I think I worried Serena today.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I'm going to let you share your experience and then I will share where it all came from, because I can only imagine what you must have thought when you saw the post I made on Facebook yesterday.
Yeah. So Claire made a post in our Nourish Your Needs group. And I believe, did you do it on your own page too? I don't know. I'm not on Facebook all that much.
Yeah, I did. I put... It was different things I posted in different spaces. So on my page, I just was like, well, that moment where you've had like a light bulb moment. But in the Nourish Your Needs group, I posted more about the relevance it has to our work and how it seemed like a significant thing.
Yeah, and tagged me in it. So I did see one of the posts, and with groundbreaking, super, super simple, like new things, which... Simple is a theoretical statement in our world, because yes, I have been brought into the fold, and well, shit, it really is that simple. However, now we're talking about branding and all of these other things, and I had this
content.
Was like, Claire, and we have a program that we're finishing up, and also a new one that we are starting to create, that we're in the process of. And Claire says, well, I think, this will be the branding for this segment in this program. I was like, we're rebranding the entire thing. What? And she's like, no.
Breathe.
Just
breathe.
We haven't actually branded this first one, the new one. So I always get super excited when Claire has something groundbreaking and, something that will make a huge difference. And it's so like what comes to mind is, I want to say it's so stupidly simple, but it's not. It's like, it's the total opposite of that. It's
smartly simple.
It's smartly simple, and something that I think we are conditioned to, I don't know,
diminish?
Take for granted. It's like,
I think we do value it. I don't think that we value things when they're simple. I think that we think that if they're simple, they can't be worth anything.
Yeah, and that the simple things don't get us to where we need to be. However, it's the simple things that are indeed the steps that get us to our destination.
Oh, yeah. So it was funny because I was like, this thing happened yesterday, and I'll tell you the story in a minute, which is kind of where all this came from. And I was like, I just had this, like, it created this like fire in my belly. Is the only way I can describe it. Of like, I'm like, it inspired me. I got excited.
Was it an Udea?
It wasn't Udea. I mean, it probably wasn't Udea. Although I don't know if it wasn't Udea, because there was no one here to verbalize it to. So, I mean, maybe it was in my head. Like, for those who don't know what an Udea is, like, you want to explain what an Udea is?
Yeah, when Claire gets really excited about an idea, she's like, I know it's going to be, quality substance. She's like, ooh, like there's different levels, and usually it's about 4 oohs. Sometimes you get like 5 or 6, then you know we're going somewhere with it. But I started calling them ooh-dias to myself, and then one day we were just talking. I was like, "Oh, you had another ooh-dia," and she's like,
I think it was actually on the podcast that you mentioned it first, and I was like, I never heard that before. That's amazing. I love that. That's a thing. And so it was funny because I'm like, I got really excited about it, and I just wanted to share about it. So, but I obviously hadn't talked this through with Serena yet. And this is a big thing that's going to make a significant difference to the work that we do and our business and everything. And I also am aware that my bright ideas a lot of the time end up in a lot of back end behind the scenes work for Serena to do, because it's adding content and what have you. So, but I was like, I feel like I got to share this. And I didn't share what it was, but I shared that I had the idea and that it was coming and that we were going to record this podcast about it. Because I mean, I'm like, I can't imagine just not recording a podcast on this, but I'm like assuming that's what we're going to do. We'll see. And so in the post I said,
"Good
I
idea.
can't say
Keep it to ourselves."
Yeah, not really our way, is it? I was like, I can't share any more about this because I haven't even shared this with Serena yet. And and as I'm writing it, I'm like, I can only imagine what she's going to think when she sees this, because I'm like, she's going to be like, oh God, Claire, now what? Like in the best possible way. Like, I know you're going to love it, but at the same time, I can imagine you going, oh God, what now? Where are
Direct
we going with
quote
this?
from my brain. Like,
Right?
I don't know how you knew, but I'm pretty sure I was like, this is going to be good, but God. All right. And and I can imagine people on the other, like people listening or watching this, they're like, that just seems so like, I don't know, unsupportive, but it's just, I think the thing is, because I know it's going to be good. Like, I know it's not just something that's going to be a simple, like, you know, oh, here's an idea here, like, and it's executed. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh no, this could be game changing, like seriously game changing. Mm-hmm. And and like we say a lot of things are simple, but this is beyond simple.
This is like so simple. I think people are going to think that can't possibly work. And I know it can, and I know it does. So, and it's so funny because I remember, and I think the other thing that Serena also knows that comes with this is that I am the queen of nuance and the queen of context, which means that even though something is simple, there's going to be some nuance to it. There's going to be some things where it's like, oh, and in this situation and applied this way. And I understand it doesn't really necessarily work in quite this way for this, but it will work in that way. So it's like, yes, it is simple. And Serena knows there's a lot of behind the scenes that's going to happen with this. So yeah, so I'm like, hi, when we got on to record this morning. So I have some news.
Heard you came up with something big.
So how this all came about is that I had a really amazing vacation a few weeks ago. My family came over to visit from the UK, and but for various reasons, their trip was a short one. And so I went up to Orlando to spend some time with them. And it meant that we only had a very short space of time to do a lot of things. And I had another friend come up so I could like bolt a little bit on the end to spend some time with them, but we only had like a day and a half. So everything felt like it was super fun, but it was also super pressured. And it was like, oh, we got to fit all the things in. And it was like, I mean, I did 1, 2, 3, 4. I did 4 theme parks in 5 days, which is not a smart choice. I mean, it was in the context of the situation. It was like, I do these in this way or I don't do them, basically. But it was a lot.
It's a lot.
It was a lot.
It is a lot.
And so on the back, it was very people-y. And I mean, I like spend time with my people, but there was a lot of other people there as well. I'm like, what are all these other people doing here? Like, and for someone who spends a lot of time just by myself and doing my own little thing, yeah. It was a lot.
It's school break. It is school break.
Well, it was. Yeah. Not anymore, but it was. Yeah, I know, right? Let's not even go there. Yeah. So moving swiftly on from how quickly the year is passing, we will, so on the backside of that, like on the butt of that,
it's gonna be one of those episodes.
It's going be one of those episodes. So on the back end of this, it meant that I don't think it's an overstatement to say I crashed out a little bit. Like, I was so beyond exhausted. And it wasn't just like physically exhausted. I mean, one day I walked 11 miles in a day. I'm lucky if I walk 11 miles. I mean, sometimes when I'm in walking mode, but I haven't been walking much recently because I've been dealing with some back trouble. And so I haven't been walking that much recently. I'm lucky if I walk like 11 miles in a month at the moment, let alone in a day. So it was
2x4 island. You're gonna have to go around in circles a little bit.
So I was like, there was the physical exhaustion, but there was also like there was emotional exhaustion because obviously it was so good seeing my family, but I don't know when I'm going to see them again, and it could be another year until I see them. And it was also overstimulation, lots of lights and sounds and people. In fact, I remember that the last ride on the last day, I was lining up. And so I'm already exhausted by this point. But there were some girls who were in front of me. They were trying to do this game to get through because it was a long queue for the ride. It was a long line for the ride. And the game involved doing this. There was a constant clapping. They were basically going through the alphabet. They were picking a topic and each having to come up with like alternate things that fell into that topic that came up with that began with that letter of the alphabet. So it was like, if it was like fruit, it was be like apples, bananas, cherries. But it was like this constant clapping. And I'm like, I want to peel my skin off. Could you stop doing that, please? And it was like I got really overwhelmed in the line, and I actually had to pause to one side and let people through so I wasn't right next to it because I just couldn't handle it. And and then we ended up going through this section where you all kind of come out of line and you end up back in line. And I was literally right behind them again. And I mean, we were close to the beginning of the ride at that point. And I was like, I'm so sorry to be this person, but I was like, is there any chance you could just stop the clapping and just for the, like, we're nearly there now. And they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. They were so sweet about it. But I was like, I'm so sorry, but I'm massively overstimulated right now. And I just can't handle the clapping. Can the clapping stop, please? So, it was a lot. It was a lot. So there was like physical, there was emotional, there was mental, there was social exhaustion. It was just exhaustion in every which way. And it took me a long time to like, it took me like my recovery time from that. Normally I'll take a couple of days to kind of rest and what have you. But I'm like a week into this and I'm still feeling wiped out. And I'm like, this is not going the way that I was expecting it to. And we got a lot to do. As Serena said, we're reworking our signature program. I'm developing an entirely new program from scratch, which I'm so excited about. And that's the thing. I'm excited about it. I want to work on it. I want to get to work on it. And I just couldn't and because of the work we do, because it's content based, I have to be in the right space physically, mentally, emotionally to be able to work on it because we know what happens. We know what happens if I'm not. Like it ends up being like, shit, we've got to do all that again.
That right there.
So I've learned my lesson. So I'm not forcing myself. And I'm doing a little bit of,
unfortunately doesn't always lead to proper creation. So
no, very much not. So I was like, I was getting to the point where I'm getting frustrated with the fact that I don't feel like I can get myself out of this space I've been in of like, I just don't feel like executive functioning wasn't happening. There was a lot that was going on and I couldn't start to make any kind of progress. And I was really feeling frustrated with the fact that I felt like I'd done the rest thing, but I also couldn't like take the next steps out of it. And I'm like, this is not me. This is not how I tend to operate. So there is and part of the challenge I've had is, as I said, I've been dealing with some back pain and some body pain. And I was like, you know what? I really feel like I want to begin. There was a particular workout program that I thought would be really helpful because I think it will help with my strength and my posture and all the things that go along with it. And I thought that would actually help with the with my body feeling more well. So, but again, I couldn't seem to get the impetus to get started with it. And every day, and especially, and this is why I know this is a thing, because I have this thing in my brain that's like, if I'm really wanting to get going on something, I have to start on a Monday. Don't know what it is. Like Mondays, like we made that up. Like it's not a thing in nature. Like it's not like like nature suddenly went, oh, this thing's called Monday, and the trees do this on Monday, and the flowers do that, and the butterflies do this. Like, no, that's not how this works. Like, it's not a thing. But my brain has me programmed that if I'm beginning a project or I'm doing something fresh, like I have to start on a Monday. So Monday came and went this week, and I'm like, like I missed my window.
Fuck you, Monday.
Right? Tuesday came and went. Didn't happen either. Wednesday, by the time I'm at Wednesday, I'm like, oh fuck, this is good. Like, fuck this. Like Monday, I'm waiting for Monday again. Like it's not happening before Monday. So because Wednesday, the week's almost over. It's literally 2 days after Monday, but my brain has me going, well, Wednesday, like the week's almost done. What's the point in starting now?
How could you ever start something on Wednesday?
Right?
Like, blasphemy.
It's my brain works in mysterious ways. It's part of the reason we have this, but it also has some little weird things that happen in there.
I can't say I'm not the
what
same.
The
like my week is like, it starts on Monday, it ends on Sunday, and it like,
I can't do calendars
we're
that start on a
into
Sunday.
it.
What do you mean week starts on a Sunday? What are you talking about? Get out of here with your calendars that start on a Sunday. Yeah. So I have these little things in my brain that make sense to me for some weird reason, even though they don't necessarily make logical sense. We know what we're talking about. Anyway, so I'm like, Wednesday came and went. And then yesterday, I was like, if I could just do one small thing. And I get up, I do my needs practice, which I also hadn't done for a hot second because I knew I needed to rest. So a lot of the time, like if I don't have the capacity to think and do things, that's where if you go through the program, you know that a lot of the time that's an indicator that your body just needs rest. I'm like, okay, I'm meeting my needs today, I'm resting. I'm meeting my needs today, I'm resting. I'm meeting my needs today, I'm resting. And I'm like, and now I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm over resting. I really want to be doing other things. So I get up, I do my needs practice. And the exercise program that I've started, that I wanted to start, has a format to it where, I mean, you don't have to do it this way, but I think it's the advised way of doing it, is that there's a very small video, which is your warm-up video. Then you do whichever the exercise routine you're going to do for the day. And then there's a very short video, which is a cool down video. And because I've been dealing with some body pain recently, I've also been trying to stretch a lot because I've been trying to help my body ease in the ways that it's obviously tense, which is causing the tightness and the pain. So as I'm doing this warm-up routine, I was trying to help myself kind of get into the mindset of what I'm doing. Like I changed into workout clothes. I'm like, look at me working out. I'm doing things. Yay me. So I get onto the mat and I'm doing the warm-up and I'm like, actually, this warm-up routine is really good. Like it's only 5 minutes long, but it will get my body moving. It's stretching in a lot of the ways that I feel like I need to stretch. And it would be a good just starting place for the day. Like even if I don't do anything else, if I just did the warm-up, that would be good. Like that would be a good thing for me to do for myself. Even if I don't get to the exercise program, if I just did the warm-up, that would already be so much further forward than I have been. It's only 5 minutes. And the second I was like, it's only 5 minutes. It's just one small thing. Like I could do that. And as I'm starting to do, I'm like, okay, I feel like if I could just do the warm-up video each morning, like if that was all I did, I think I would feel good about that. So I do the warm-up. And then as I'm doing, and I get to the end of the warm-up, I'm like, yay me, I did the warm-up. Like look at me. I've done 5 minutes. But I've done 5 minutes. That's 5 minutes more than I've done for however many days. And I've moved my body. I've stretched my body. I've done a lot of the movement that my body actually feels like it needs right now. I'm like, this is good. This is good. So I then start doing the exercise. And the thing is that when I'm exercising is one of the few times that my brain actually gets time to think, because a lot of the time I'm like watching TikTok videos, or I've got something on in the background because my brain needs something to, otherwise it gets very noisy in here. So I a lot of the time have to have a little distraction going on in the outside world. So I'll have other things going on. So while I'm working out, I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm like, just one small thing. Just one small thing. I'm like, I don't know if there's ever a time that I can't do just one small thing. I don't know that there's ever been a time in my life that I haven't been able to do just one small thing. Like, even when I broke my back, even when I got run over by a sand truck on the beach, even when I was going through the deepest grief, even when I was feeling like life is spiraling out of control and I don't even know where to start. Even in those moments, I think I could have done just one small thing. And the interesting thing about this is that doing just one small thing, the irony of all of this is that this has been built into the need stuff from the beginning. We've never phrased it this way before. We've never talked about it in these terms. But actually, it's very much the essence of how the foundations of need meeting. And we talked about, like, we did episodes at the end of, I think it was the end of last year, where we talked about the small wins and the small steps. Like, if you are in the hole and you are really struggling in life, that the things, like, in those moments, like when I'm working with clients who are at their worst point in their life, the things I get them to focus on are the small wins and the small steps. We will put the link to the show notes. We'll put the link in the show notes to those episodes, so you can go listen to them if you want to understand a little bit more about what we're talking about. But when we talk about the small wins and the small steps, we talk about the small wins being something that is not awful. Now, if you are in an okay place, if you're in a neutral space, or if you're in an okay space, or if you're in a good space, that might be, you might perceive that as something like a gratitude, something you're grateful for. Like, a small win could be something you're grateful for. If you're in the hole, if you are really struggling, it could be something that's not absolutely awful. Like, if something that's okay, something that is not worse than it was yesterday, that could be your small win. Because compared to how it could be, if things have been getting like progressively worse, and then you have a day where it hasn't got worse, that's a win. Comparatively where it could be, if you are saying that like, I have a roof over my head, that could be a small win, and it might not seem like a big thing to a lot of people, but to somebody, if they're really struggling, just having a roof over their head, that could be that small thing that you go, okay, at least I have a roof over my head. Like, the small wins are the things that are like, okay, I can see some kind of goodness in my world. And even if that goodness takes the form of okayness because of where I'm at in my life right now. And then the small steps are those small things that you can start to do that will move you in the direction of the way, of where you want to go. And they might be really small, and that's okay. It may just be getting in the shower. Like, you don't have the capacity to clean yourself, but just getting in the shower and being under the water, that's a small step. Might be getting out of bed in the morning. That might be a small step. It might be going out and taking a few breaths of fresh air. That might be a small step. And depending if you're in a slightly better place in your life, a small step might be like writing an email you've been putting off writing, or it might be setting a reminder for something that you know you want to do at a time where you believe you're going to have the capacity to do it. It might be, go ahead, I can see you jump.
It might be starting a small task. Like, yes, it might be starting the task, and I want to emphasize the starting, because I have trouble with
what is in that situation. I think it's really important to recognize what is the small step, because when you think about it in the context of starting a thing, then a lot of time you see that as part of the bigger picture. And with this, we're not focusing on the bigger picture. It's what is the first thing. So starting is like, well, what is the small step that is starting that? So it might be like if you were going to clean or tidy your room, the small step is putting one thing away. Like technically that's starting cleaning your room, but you want to make it just the small step. What that one small step is I'm going to put this t-shirt in that drawer. That's the small step. So I want to jump back to your example, but I just wanted to give that context.
Yeah, no, and that's important because it's, you know, when I say the starting, it's not the, we were talking about this earlier off camera. It's not the end goal. That's not the motivation for these small steps. It's just getting one step closer to something that needs to be done. Like, yes. And it's not, you do that one small thing and then all of a sudden it's like, well, that's done. Woohoo. Like you could walk away at that point.
Yes.
That's the thing. You could walk away, or you could be inspired to continue or do something else that gets you further in that process. But if it's just that one thing, like, look at you getting something done. Like that is more than okay.
And that's why it's really important sometimes to take it out of the context of starting the big thing and instead focus on just this thing, because the second it's in that context, it feels like, well, I'm starting this thing, so it still feels incomplete because I'm focused on the big thing that I'm starting, as opposed to like, the only thing I need to focus on right now is this one t-shirt going into that one drawer. That's it. And then anything besides that doesn't matter until that's done. And then once that's done, then I can see how I feel. So there's couple of things here. So when we talked about the small wins and the small steps, if you think about, like, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're in the hole, you're struggling, think about the small wins, plural. Like, we talk about the small wins because there do tend to be a lot of them around, as in like there's any one you could pick from. But sometimes people can get overwhelmed just thinking about, oh God, I got to pick like a small win. Okay. But there's lots. If I'm talking about the small wins, I'm thinking about them in a plural sense. Same thing as we talk about the small steps. Yes, those are the things that you can do, but this is almost like a step before that, where it's like, okay, how do I, like, yes, I'm thinking about small wins right now. What's just one small thing that is a win right now? And you just got to think, what's just one thing? Like, just one thing is I have a roof over my head right now. Just one small thing that is that I have a drink in my hand, as in I mean, like a hydrating drink. I mean, maybe it's a small win if you have a different kind of drink in your hand. That's no judgment. And it may just be I've got food in my stomach right now. That is just that one small thing that is okay in my world, and I get to acknowledge that it's okay in my world. And when we talk about the small steps, like, we need to break that down and be like, what's just one small thing that is a step forward in the direction that I want to go? So it's really important. And this is where I suddenly had this moment of like, oh, this is helpful. Like, it's the thing is, like, the universal needs program wouldn't exist if I had the perfect life, because the universal needs program exists because I needed it. It was the thing that I needed that helped me to get where I am right now. And so every single one of these, I'm like, oh, if that could help me, I think this could help some other people too. I mean, there are certain things that are specifically going to help me, but there are some things where I get that, like that, ooh, that's the ooh dear. It's the ooh dear. You're right. It wasn't ooh dear, obviously. It was a delayed reaction. Ooh dear. Like, I'm like, oh, I think this could be helpful to quite a few people, because it's so simple. And so here's what ended up happening is that from that just one small thing of getting on and doing my warm-up, I did the workout, I did the cool down, I ended up printing out these little things to act as reminders around my space to focus on just one small thing. I found a new reminders app on my phone that will give me reminders at different random times for the just one small thing. And I had one of the most productive days yesterday that I have had in the longest time. And it never felt overwhelming because I wasn't focusing on being productive. Every step of the way, I was just focused on what's the just one small thing that I'm focused on right now. So there's a couple of things around this. One, yes, when you do that just one small thing, sometimes that can act as the impetus or that motivation for you to do another just one small thing. So sometimes it can help you to create this progress. It can help you towards that bigger goal. However, it's so important to not be thinking of it in terms of that bigger goal. Like, it's not like the just one, like if I want to be climbing a mountain, the just one small thing might be putting on my shoes. But if I'm putting on my shoes to go up the mountain, it doesn't have the same feel to it. If I'm just focusing, the small thing is to put on my shoes, that's easy. That's doable in that moment. And then once I've got my shoes on, I can make a decision over whether I'm going to go sit down on the couch or whether I'm going to walk out of my front door.
Well, feet, where do you want to go? You're
valid.
dressed.
Exactly. Got fancy glad rags on. What are we going to do? We're going for a dance. We're going to stay and hang at the house. Like, there's so many things you could do with that. So that's the first thing. The second thing, it's really important to recognize some of the things that are happening from a chemical standpoint within our system when we do this. And why does this work? Why is this helpful? This is one of the things that helps us to stimulate dopamine production, is setting small goals and achieving them. So when we focus on just one small thing, and we do that just one small thing, and we acknowledge that we've done that just one small thing, we get a little dopamine hit. And when we do something that stimulates dopamine production, it tends to, and this is not in all people because dopamine production works different in different people, nuance, context. So it's important to say that. And in a lot of people, when you do something that stimulates dopamine production, you tend to be motivated to do more of the thing that created the dopamine production. So it is very common that when you do a small thing that moves you in a direction and gives you that dopamine hit, that you are likely to want to do another thing. Not always, but sometimes. And so that's the reason that sometimes this can snowball and we can end up being like, oh, look at all these things I did. And it's also really important to recognize that we want to connect this, if possible, to what we talked about in terms of getting into the creator approach. I.e., we want to be doing that just one small thing that is going to align with what we want to create in that moment. And it's important to recognize that progress is just one of the things that we may want to create in any given moment. We may want to create rest or nourishment in any one given moment. We may want to create healing. We may want to create peace or a sense of peace within ourselves. And you can still do just one small thing that will help you to create rest. You can do just one small thing that will help you to create healing. You can do just one small thing that will help you to create a sense of peacefulness inside of yourself. And so I think it's really important that we take this outside of the context of to-do lists and progress and achievement and productivity and all those sorts of things, because I think this is where things kind of fall off the rails, because we have these ideas and these tools and they get like focused on this one thing. And sometimes that can be a great thing. I'm blanking on the name right now of the chat. This was used, Michael something. I'm Serena's going to look it up for me.
Michael Mosley, Dr. Michael Mosley.
Dr. Michael Mosley. So after we had this conversation, we were like, we should look this up and see if anybody else is talking about this sort of thing. I think he might be an actor, actually.
Yes, doctor.
He is. Okay.
I wanted to correctly give the thing, but not incorrectly.
Yeah. So, like, for example, like he used this in the context of a very specific, like, here are 7 things that are good for your health and well-being. So he used this idea of just one thing to help you to do these things that are good for health and well-being. And so sometimes it can be really helpful to be specific, because if you're trying to create health and well-being, that could be helpful. And it's really important to acknowledge and focus on what are we trying to create in this moment, and realize that health and well-being could be one of the things, productivity or progress could be one of the things, but it could be rest, it could be nourishment for ourselves, it could be that we're trying to create playfulness for our inner child because they've not experienced that in a long time, if ever. It could be that we're trying to create, as I said, a sense of like calm and restfulness. And the one small thing that we choose to do is going to be very, very different depending on how it's being applied and the context of it, that kind of, what am I trying to create in this moment? Because yeah, we can do just one small thing, but if we're exhausted and the just one small thing we decide to do is go for a run, that might not be the most helpful. If we're exhausted and the just one small thing we choose to do is to work on an email, that might not be helpful. And so it's really important that we align this just one small thing and the doing of this just one small thing in alignment with the thing that we feel is most in alignment with what we're trying to create in this moment for ourselves and for the world, if we're wanting to think about that.
And be in alignment with your capacity, with where you are at in that moment.
Yes.
That's one that I often struggle with, where it's like, I live in a very small space. I'm a full-time RVer. So like things can get cluttered really quickly. Like I'll turn around and it's fine. And then I turn around and I'm like, oh shit, what happened? Something moved and all the things moved. And obviously, I mean, literally moments before we hopped on to record this podcast is when Claire and I discussed this, concept for the first time. And when she was talking about creating calm, there is a sense like having my place somewhat organized creates a calm for me. Like I'm not looking, being like all these things need to be done. And this weekend, there was a chair that it was out of place and it stuck out, and it created like a jarring, like when I look into the space, it was like a jarring edge, which to some people, they might be like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Some people might be like, I have no clue where she's at with this. But looking into that space, that chair, just like there was something about it. And I moved that chair. I needed to clean up the entire area, but I moved that chair. I did just one small thing. And I was like, oh, that feels a little better.
Yeah.
And and for a long time, it stopped at that. Like eventually I ended up going back to the room and I did another small thing, and I tend to task switch. And I used to get into a little bit of a shame spiral in task switching, being like, oh, well, I'm not getting anything done.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna jump in here because we talked about this beforehand, and something's just occurred to me as you're talking. It's not task switching if you're doing just one small thing. It's only task switching if you're thinking about it in the context of the bigger thing that you're doing.
Well, shit.
Because if you're task switching, you're moving between doing an email or tidying something up or doing, like, you're thinking about it in the context of the bigger thing. If it's just one small thing, you're not task switching because you're just doing that one small task and then it's done. And then you do a different small task. And as you were talking, it made me think about, like, I think that's the reason that especially like neurospicy folks like us, like this is why this works for me. I was saying to Serena before we got on the recording, how I've done this thing. I've always described it as circular cleaning. And I'm not sure if circular would imply that there's some kind of like uniformity to it or pattern or direction. And it's not that. And what happens is that normally it's more tidying than cleaning necessarily, but it's like, I'll take this from over here and I'll put it over there. And then when I'm over there, I'll do something else and I'll move this over there. And then that will make me think, oh, I'm going to go do this over here. And then I'm going to go do this over there. And it's like, and gradually my space kind of gets to the point where it's all tidy. But there's this belief that we have to do things. It's like, I'm going to tidy the kitchen. And you have to just focus on the kitchen. And if there's things in the kitchen that don't belong in the kitchen, and there are ways that you can do this. Like I've seen people give tidying suggestions, which are happy mealtime, Daz, if you're wondering what that sound was in the background. That was Serena's cat's automatic cat feeder. But it's like, and what they do is they suggest that, like, if there's anything in the kitchen that doesn't belong in the kitchen, you just put all of that in a bag, and then afterwards you go and then try. And that's valid. Like they suggest that what you do is that you put everything that doesn't belong in this space, so you can stay in that space and just focus on the things that are in that space.
That gives me anxiety thinking of a bag of stuff that I then have to go through that goes to all sorts of different rooms. I'm very much with you where it's, you know,
to this, to this, to this, to this.
like maybe it's flow cleaning.
Oh, could be. I like that. Flow cleaning. Yeah, I like that. Going with the flow. Yeah, that works. But I think the reason that this just one small thing works for our, and I was saying to Serena, the reason that I do this form of cleaning is because eventually it may take me a little longer. It may do. I don't know, actually. I mean, I'm guessing I'm still doing the same amount of stuff over the period of time, but I don't feel pressured. I'm not like I have to do this in this space. And like, if you have, there's a phrase when it comes to neurospicy, which is pathological demand avoidance. And I saw somebody came up with a new term with it for PDA, which is persistent desire for autonomy, which I thought was much better. It's like I don't want to be feeling like I have to do this. I want to feel like I'm choosing to do the things that work for me. And that's the reason that way of cleaning works for me, because I don't feel like I'm restricted. Like I've got to do it in a certain way. And like that feels heavy, and it feels, it doesn't feel, I mean, not that tidying generally feels enjoyable, but it feels way less enjoyable than average tidying does.
And you're able to enact your personal power in something like cleaning. Like,
exactly. And the key with the just small, I think that's why the just one small thing works for me, is because I'm just doing this one small thing. I'm not worrying about which room I'm trying to tidy right now. I'm just moving this one thing to here. And then I'm like, oh, that makes me think of that thing. And I'm now going to do this, and I'm going to put this in this drawer. Oh, and that makes me see that thing. And I'm like, oh, now I'm going to put this over here. And that makes me see my plant. And I haven't watered my plant in a while. So I'm going to go get some water, and I'm going to water my plant, because that's not technically tidying, but it is just one small thing. And I think that coming back to what you were talking about, like we discussed this beforehand, and you were like, oh, the whole task switching thing, I feel like I should just be doing one thing, and I should be, why can I not just get this one thing done? Well, you are just getting the one thing done, but you're thinking about it in terms of the overarching task that you're trying to get done, not just the one small thing that you're doing. And it just becomes a collection of one small things.
Well, and we had talked about kind of how you frame the things you do with this, you know, when I brought up the task switching and listening to you and your flow cleaning, I'm like, oh, wow, like sounds like you've accomplished so much, like when you were giving that example. However, it would have been really easy to be like, I completed none of the things because you had only done the one small thing. And it's like, it's very important for us to not look at those small things as insignificant, because those small things are the steps that lead you to, like I said before, your destination. Like like these steps are going to happen in some form or other. Like the fact that you're doing them as individual, like one small thing. Okay. Like give yourself the credit for completing, you know, I was telling Claire, I had a bunch of returns to do, and it was such a slow process for me. And because we hadn't talked about this, so I was in my little negative self-talk brain, because that happens. And I'm like, Serena, just like, it's not that hard to do returns. Like, let's just get this fucking shit done. And I say that, and anybody who has dealt with returns, most people who have dealt with returns, I think, can empathize with how challenging that can sometimes be, especially if you have a lot of
all
things.
The different elements.
Exactly. And like from the outside in, I'm like, somebody's like, oh, I have a lot of returns to do. It's like, oh, I feel you. Like, you know, like I know what that's like. And when I'm in that moment, I'm like, come on, just put the shit in a box. Like, what are we doing? Get some tape. And it's, I started and I took the piles of bags off my floor and I put them in the box. Well, that needed to happen. And it was, if I had had this conversation a day or two ago, I would have been able to look at that and be like, I got those in the box. They're not on the floor. Fuck, look at me go. However, I was like staring at that box, and I'm like, and now the box needs tape. And it was like, and this, and this, and this, and this. And there was that pressure. And then I got mad at the box. I'm like, I started having these feelings towards the box. I'm like, box, and you're just sitting there without your tape on it, and where I could have been like, look at you.
I know you and your history with boxes. Like, no wonder your inclination was to get get pissed at the box. Like
get a little salty with
people
the
trying
box.
people trying to put us in boxes. I remember you and fuck your box. Like, I mean, you have a bad history with boxes, so like it's understandable why it went there. Like,
but it didn't need to. I could have had like a nice jovial moment with myself and the box. And, you know, I'm looking at like things that I need to do, and I'm like, God, like this will make it so much less pressurized. And like I can do just one small thing and not have it be the task switch. Like just even using that verbiage of task switching, I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that in general, but there's such a negative connotation because usually it means that it's taking you longer to get the things done. But as Claire said, is it real? Like, is it really? Like, you're still doing the things.
Well, it's only if you are focused on the bigger picture. Like, the reason that task switching tends to be an issue is because if you're trying to do this one big goal thing, and then you're trying to also do this one big goal thing and that one big goal thing, when you move from this to this, you have to remember, okay, I'm in the context of this big goal thing now, so I have to remember this, 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 and this. And so it takes mental capacity for you to do that. To like, in that context, yes, task switching can be a challenge because it can cause a drain on our resources in terms of our like focus and our brain power and our energy levels. Whereas if you're not thinking about it in the context of those big things and you're focused on just one small thing, if the just one small thing is, I've just got to, like, I think about it like in the terms of like, let's go back to tidying. Like, if I'm focused on the fact that I'm trying to tidy my house, let's put it that way, try and tidy my house, and I have the bedroom and I've got the kitchen and I've got the bathroom. Like, every time I go into the bathroom, I'm going to see all the things in the bathroom that need to be cleaned and tidied. And then if I then task switch the kitchen, when I go to the kitchen, I'm going to see all the things in the kitchen that need to be tidied. And then if I then task switch because I'm moving something to the living room, and I'm thinking in the context of the living room also needs to be cleaned, I'm noticing all the things in the living room that need to be cleaned. Whereas if I'm actually just going, I'm moving this thing into the kitchen. Okay. And now I'm in the kitchen. I'm like, oh, I can see this. I'm going to put that in the bedroom. And then I'm in the bedroom and I'm like, oh, now I'm going to water my plants. Now I'm going to water my plants. The second you take it out of the context of all of that the big picture stuff, you're no longer worried about all the other shit in the room that needs to be done. You're focused on just that one thing that you're doing. It takes way less resources to do that. And I think that the reason that we end up having this kind of shame spiral a lot of these times is that we think, I have to tidy my bedroom. And so if we do this circular cleaning thing and the whole house gets a little bit clearer and a little bit more organized, but there are still things in the bedroom, then maybe 2 or 3 things left in the bedroom that aren't done, we go, oh, I failed at getting the bedroom tidy. We're not focusing on the fact, look at all these all these just one small things. The whole house is much tidier now. It feels much clearer. And like, when we start focusing on that way, like, it's so, and this is the reason that when we talk about like needs meeting, we're always like, stop making these massive goals for yourself that if you then miss by a short way, you focus on the amount that you miss by, not on the amount that you've done. Focus on each little thing that you do to get like that meets your needs a little bit more and get to feel good about each of those rather than focusing on the things you haven't done.
I always hesitate when I'm about to.
I see a question coming.
I'm like,
can't open, worms everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's gone. Come back.
I was saying about setting a big goal and then being able to enjoy each little step.
Yeah.
Don't know if this is helping or not.
Oh. Focusing on the just one small thing. I'm going to use stretching as an example because this is something that I do and have done myself for like a couple of weeks now and had no concept until this moment, like that my brain is actually kind of doing this just one small thing. And I would love to have the capacity to do a class or to do something that's very structured and, you know, and you know,
Feel like you're
it's
stretching your whole body. And
yes, like you do in totality, like you come out and you're like, yes, I am renewed. You know what? That's not the life I'm living right now. Like that's just,
it's not where you're at.
it's not where I'm at. Like, and I could force it, and that would like, and then I may be stretched, but then I've compromised all sorts of other needs, and that is a rabbit hole we're going to stay away from. But what I've started to do is just being like, just like, doesn't matter what I stretch. It doesn't matter how long I stretch, like just stretching. And sometimes that stretching is me, like, I'm like sitting on the couch, like I'll be sitting there and I'll just kind of slide down the couch and I'm on the floor. And my husband's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe stretching. But like, sometimes it happens, and sometimes I just sit on the floor and it's like, well, I got on the floor. That's one step closer than sitting on the couch because I'm not stretching on the couch. And like, there wasn't, like, thinking back, there wasn't that kind of shame that went along with it. It's like, no, at least I got on the floor. Like, that's better than, you know, normal. A lot of times I get onto the floor and then I'm like, I'm just going to stretch my legs. And then I start stretching my legs, and it's like, and then I'm like, oh, let me just, you know, I'm going to, this feels good too. And then I've stretched for a couple of minutes, and it's like, it may not be in totality. It is not the stretching that I like as a trained dancer that I know would like be like the total fulfilling experience. But it's like that little thing has that kind of knock-on effect that's going to help me sleep better or not be in pain or not be as uncomfortable. And I think it's important to realize, like, we're talking like the small things can be like, they don't have to be small things in totality. Like, and that's something like that for myself has been challenging because I'm like, okay, this is the thing that we're accomplishing.
Well, small is relative.
Yeah.
It's relative to your capacity. So it's like, depending on the capacity, just one small thing to me might be clearing my inbox. That might feel like a small thing if I've got a lot of capacity. If I don't have a lot of capacity, just one small thing might be writing one sentence of an email.
Might be opening up the inbox and being like, what mail do I have?
Right. Or deleting the stuff that's trash. That might be the one small thing, like, so that you can then focus when you come back to the things that you actually need to pay some attention to. And I think that once you start to get into this mindset of just one small thing, it's amazing. Like, I mean, we talk about the bonuses and the ding, ding, dings when it, like in the program, when it, like in our signature program, when it comes to needs meeting, which are either things that you do one thing and it's meeting other needs at the same time. You're just recognizing and acknowledging and getting to feel the benefit of meeting other needs. Or I've decided I'm going to do this one thing to meet a need. Oh, look, I've done this thing. It actually meets the same need. Oh, look, I get a little bonus today. So those are the what we're used to, those sorts of things. And I also think that, like, this is like a simplified version of that. So, like, just what happened for me when Serena started talking about stretching. Now, I'm also of the mindset that as a trained dancer and somebody who practices yoga regularly and works out regularly and stretches and also has a lot of tightness in my body, like, stretching is something that I want to be able to do intentionally. I want to be able to make time for it and make sure I'm stretching all the different parts of my body and feel like a huge significant difference to how I felt previously. And Serena started talking about stretching. And if you're watching on the video, you can go back and watch this happen. The second Serena talked about stretching, I did this with my shoulders and I felt my back crack. And I was like, oh, that feels good. That's one small thing I've done. And I've released a little bit of tension from my shoulders. Is that a massive thing? Does my entire body feel differently? No, it doesn't. But it feels better than it would have done if I hadn't done that one small thing.
Well, and you did that unintentionally. However,
oh no, I did it intentionally.
Oh, you did? Like, you stretched because, like,
the second I heard you say stretching, I was like, oh, stretching, that would feel good. And I did it like, in the moment.
You did do it intentionally. However, a lot of times that will happen. Something like that will happen unintentionally. Like, somebody will say something, you're like, oh yeah, stretched. And acknowledging that you stretched and that you did that one small thing, like, that's a big part of it as well. Like, because we do everything we do every second of every day is done to meet our needs. We are constantly doing small.
That's good. Where did you hear that?
A podcast, listen to. check it out. I'll send you the link. We do so many small things, and sometimes they're not intentional. A lot of times they're not intentional, but acknowledging the fact that that one small thing was done, and that one small thing is going to have, albeit maybe small, but an impact in your day. Like, that's why,
Well, think about like
that's why we're doing
hours,
it.
how many hours, generally speaking, are we awake a day? Like, think about it. Like, if you say woke up around 7 or 8 in the morning and you went to bed around 10 or 11 at night. So let's take the smaller window of that. So 7 to 7, that's 12 plus 3, so that's about 15 hours. If you did one small thing, just one small thing every hour, that's 15 small things every day. That's not an insignificant amount of small things. And I think that this is the thing, is that we feel like in order to get things done, this is the reason that I say that it helps if we do this in the context of what we want to create. Because if we're mindful of what we want to create, we're moving in that, like we're focused on that. And it means that that just one small thing that we're going to do is building some form of movement in that direction. And I think that so often what ends up happening is that we feel like we need to just be focusing on this one thing. Like I'm focusing on building muscle right now, so everything I'm doing should be focused on building muscle. And the fact of the matter is that that might be something that you're wanting to create, and then there are going to be moments where your needs are saying, can we get something different in this moment, please? So it's important to check in. Yes, what do I want to create? And also, what needs are talking to me? Like, what is my body telling me it needs? What is my brain telling me it needs? And sometimes, what is my knowing about how human beings work tell me that I need? Because like sometimes I can be like, you know what? I'm kind of exhausted and I'm kind of tired. And so the thought of doing exercise doesn't necessarily feel like it's in alignment with that. And I also know that how the body works means that a lot of the time, if you do some form of movement, you may actually feel more awake than you did before you did the movement. So it's important to like listen to those like subtle nuances and to be like, okay, try it. Maybe I'm going to try just one small thing, is I'm going to do a little bit of exercise in this moment. And if I feel better as a result of that exercise, that might be something I'm going to, okay, maybe I'll try that again at some point. If I feel even more exhausted, I'm like, okay, the just one small thing I need right now probably is rest. So the next just one small thing, when I have my moment where I'm going to do something, I'm going to focus on rest.
I want to just kind of reiterate to be mindful of your capacity on this, and mindful that your capacity changes, and it's almost never at the same place twice, because what may be your one small thing today may not be the same as tomorrow, or it was last week. You know, like returns are currently an element of my life. So like one week, my just one small thing could be getting it all done, being like, I'm going to pack this up and send it out today, because that's what I have the capacity to do. Some days it may be picking the shit up off the floor and throw it in the box, and not getting on myself being like, well, I should be able to have done, this same one small thing from before, because I know that I can do it. And like that like knowing like I could pull the capacity out. Yeah, you could potentially. And is that really what's going to serve you in the long run?
And you're not pulling capacity out. You are diving into your reserve tanks of capacity at that point. Like, you're not actually working. Your capacity is how much you have in your tanks, how many resources you have. And in that moment, if you could pull it out, you're pulling your reserves, which means you're going to feel that pull at some point. You're going into negative in your reserve tanks, and you don't really want to do that, because you're going to end up paying the price for it. The other thing that's really important is to get out of this space of comparison, where you look at what somebody else is doing and think, I should be doing that, or I should be able to do that. I've worked with, couples a lot in the work that I do with clients. And I've had to have these conversations where the two clients are in two very different positions in terms of their capacity, in terms of where they're at on their healing journey, in terms of where they're at, in terms of what they're focusing on and what they're trying to create. And so one person might be there, like, I would like from one week to the next, I would see them. They've sent out like 4 job applications, that they've been to the gym 3 times a week, blah, blah, blah. And the other person is like, got out of bed and had a shower. And it's like, for them, where they are at, that's a big deal. Like those things deserve celebration and acknowledgement every bit as much as the person who is doing the job applications and going to the gym, because they're each in alignment with their capacity at that moment in time. And what ends up happening is that when we compare ourselves to somebody else and find ourselves like lacking, we end up devaluing the just one small things. And the second we devalue them, and we devalue ourselves in the process, we lose the benefit from them. And like I mean, I've been in situations with clients where I have had to spend 20 minutes out of the session pointing out all the small wins and the small steps, like just one small thing, all the just one small things, because they've come into the session and they've gone, well, I've done nothing this week. I'm going, and I have said to them, is that really true? I'm curious. Like, is that really true?
You're wearing pants. That's a start. Like,
right. And you're here in the room with me.
From personal experience, some days putting on pants is just not the just one small thing I can do. It's getting out of bed. Like, and sometimes it's just acknowledging I'm not getting out of bed today. Like this, like this is not meant. It is not meant to go further than this room for the moment. And
the just one small thing is allowing yourself to rest. Because the thing is that when you start to judge yourself or think about the things that you believe you should be doing, those just one small things feel completely invalidated and completely devalued. And the second we do that, we lose all benefit from them. And so it's so important to, like, especially if you are in the hole, especially if you are struggling, you are up against it, is every just one small thing you do is so worthy of celebration. And even like celebration might not feel possible from where you are. Like that may not be the word. Like it's worthy of acknowledgement. It's worthy of recognizing I did this, and I am better off right now for having done this than I would be if I hadn't, which is a small win. Every just one small thing you do is in and of itself a small win. And that's the cool thing about this, is that every time you do one of these things, the key to it is acknowledging it when you notice that you are doing it. Because it's the acknowledgement, it's the recognition of doing it that gets you that's where the dopamine production a lot of the time will come from. It's the you've said it, you've done it, you've acknowledged it. And it's the acknowledgement that kind of rounds it out. And that's the thing that gives us a little, oh, okay, cool. And a lot of the time that little, ooh, okay, is the thing that will give us the resources to do another just one small thing. It may be now, it may be in half an hour's time, it may be an hour's time, it may be in a day's time, but it's that, and we can allow that to fuel us. And the only way we get that fuel is if we acknowledge it. And so even in the moments where it's like, yes, I would like to be doing this, and it's okay to acknowledge I would like to be doing this, and I've still done this. And that thing I've done is still one step forward. It's that one small thing that is moving me in the direction that I want to go. And by doing that, that is going to shift how we feel about ourselves. It's going to shift how we feel about the things that we're trying to make movement on. And it's so important. It's like that client of mine, like, I can imagine people being like, that's a long time to spend just acknowledging the things that this person has done this week. Yeah, it is. And that was the most valuable thing that person needed at that point in time, was because they weren't seeing all of those just one small things that they'd done. And they weren't seeing all those just one small things that were actually okay in their life. And so by my pointing them out and going, I'm curious, like, did you do this week? And what happened, the reason they were saying I've done nothing this week was because they'd set a bunch of expectations of the things they thought they should do. And because they hadn't done those things, they therefore came to the conclusion that they'd done nothing. And this is the reason it's like, okay, we need to acknowledge that those are the things we would like to do, and still be able to recognize what are the things that I have done, what are the things that I am doing. And the cool thing about it is, like, as I said, I had this I set this app up with these randomized reminders, so I get random reminders at random times during the day with like, ooh, remember just one small thing. And last night I went to a friend of mine who's in town who currently doesn't live here, and he's one of my closest friends. So I went to go and see him at a mutual friend's house, and the app must have reminded me probably 3 times while I was there. Just one small thing. Just one small thing. And I'm like, I'm with one of my closest friends that I don't normally get to see right now. That's just one small thing I get to acknowledge that's good in this moment. And I happen to be on a houseboat. So the just one small thing was like, I'm right by the water. I love being right by the water. That's one thing that is good in this moment. And I was watching the sunset. I'm like, that's just one small thing that I get to feel good about in this moment. Most people go, well, it's still the same thing. No, it's not. Because each of those is just one small thing. And each of those I got benefit from by recognizing them and acknowledge them in that moment.
It's the acknowledgement that helps it to meet your needs, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was
in
doing
that
all
moment,
those things, and I was, go ahead. Sorry.
We're kind of on the same, I think we might be on the same path. I don't know if I'm about to veer off a little bit, but like, those are all things that were happening. And that reminder brought you into the moment to appreciate what you were, where you were at, and to recognize those as just one small thing. And you probably could have gotten the reminder as well and have just taken a deep breath. That's just one small thing.
Yeah. And
like,
we were sat together.
Giving yourself a little love, but like the gratitude. I'm so thankful to be in this moment. That's just one small thing.
We were sat chatting, and I sat and said, I'm going to stretch my body because my body's feeling a little tight right now. So, and the good thing is, and Serena's right. And
I know.
Yes.
Oh. Damn. Oh, that pause was perfection.
You are right. It was the acknowledgement that made me get even more benefit. I was still getting a benefit from being there. It was still benefiting me. And the acknowledgement amped up that benefit. In that moment, each of those acknowledgements, I could have got home and gone, that was a really lovely night. And I actually did come back and went, that was a really lovely night. And I sent my friend a text message saying it was great. I had a really good time. And every single time every time I recognized the individual things, I'm by the water right now. This is a beautiful sunset right now. I'm with my friends right now. I'm out of the house right now. I've got some fresh air right now. I'm doing a little stretch right now. Every single one of those, it amped it up and it amplified the benefit I was getting from something I was already doing.
It was also probably a great reminder that these things are fulfilling and meeting your needs. Like, it can almost see, like, in that moment, like if you would put your hand on our friend's hand and been like, I'm connecting. And then like taking that mental, or that not just actually embodying that moment and being like, just one small thing. I'm like, this is a little extra bit of connection. Like, I'm feeling the energy. And like, it sounds so, it's so simple. It almost sounds silly as we're talking about it. But like, as you know, we're giving these examples, I'm like, oh, that would feel so nice just to touch his hand. Like, cause I obviously know who Claire's talking about. And it's like, oh, I'd be so grateful to be in that moment, to be able to do that. And one small thing, maybe I'll text after and be like, hey, we were talking about you, just, to create the connection. Like,
yes.
Just one small thing.
And you don't even need somebody else to be a part of it. That is a great example. And something that feels like a silly example was they've kind of got this kind of modular couch thing that like you could kind of lay on and everything. It's like super comfy. And the section of it that I was on, they had this really lovely kind of like furry, fuzzy, blankety thing that felt like, I mean, I literally felt like I was like lying on a plushie. Like that's how it felt. And even just the feeling that it felt so cozy, it felt so warm. Like I just got to enjoy it. Like, and that's the thing is that what we're doing in those moments where we are experiencing those small wins is we're getting a moment of enjoyment out of whatever it is that we're getting. And if we're in a neutral state, it will probably feel like enjoyment. Like I'm in a pretty kind of okay place in my, like, right now. And so it felt like enjoyment to me. If I'd been like really in the hole, it would be like, okay, this feels okay right now. That okay is still just one small thing. That's a small win in that moment, that it feels something. Like if you've been feeling like crap, feeling okay is a win comparatively with feeling like crap. Like things not being terrible is a win in that moment. And we want to phrase things as much as possible in the positive as opposed to in the not in the negative. So not being crap. And it's like, okay, what's the word that resonates with me? This feels manageable right now, or this feels okay right now, or this feels neutral right now. Like something feeling neutral is a win if you've not been feeling great beforehand.
I've been in my own space recently, and when we got on to start recording today, Claire asked how I was doing, and I think this is kind of a good example because I was like, you know, it's still cloudy out, but the rain cloud isn't over my head anymore. And it was like focusing on, like, yeah, it's still, I could have been like, no, it's still gray, Eeyore, ho hum, like, you know, just been in it. And it's like, you know, I'm acknowledging things aren't great and they're better than they were. And that just saying that and acknowledging that to her made it like, okay, like the clouds are moving and eventually it will be clear skies and then maybe we'll get some sun and maybe not, but like I'm not getting poured on right now, and that's pretty fucking fantastic in my world. Like,
right. I mean, and as someone who, I mean, we're in the rainy season down here right now. I have been rained on and poured on in the last week. And like sometimes it's where you look up and you get to see a rainbow and it's like, yeah, I'm soaked, but it's a rainbow. Like that's pretty cool. I like rainbows. Like it's this is not, we're not suggesting that these things are there to distract from or ignore or negate how we are feeling. Because as I said, the one small thing, like maybe what we want to create is healing. And the one small thing we may want to do in that is allow ourselves to feel what we're feeling in that moment. Like that's, it's not, and the fact that we felt our feelings, even the feelings that aren't that great, could easily be a small win because it's something that moves us in the direction of more healing. And so this is where, like, and this is not me trying to kind of toxic positivity everything. Like if we are being intentional about what we're trying to create and do just one small thing that moves us in that direction, then even the things that maybe aren't so great sometimes are there because that's part of the path to progress us to where we want to be. And I'm not saying that everything crappy is good for you or there's a silver lining to every cloud. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm talking about the things that you are doing. If you are doing them to move in a certain direction because that's what you want to create. I want to create accountability. I want to create healing. Then sometimes feeling grief is not something people would necessarily think, oh, that's a little win. You're feeling grief. But if you're intentionally feeling the grief because that's something you want to process, then the processing of that emotion is a small win. And that feeling of emotion is just one small thing that you can do as you are processing and healing. And so this is why, like, there's a lot of nuance around this. And I think that it's a reason that a lot, like if a lot of people like to work with us because I can explain very easily what the difference is between, okay, we're distracting from what's really going on here, or there's a little bit of toxic positivity slipping in there even. And actually this is something you are doing because you are on this particular path and you are choosing to do that because that's something that's going to move you forward and create that momentum in the direction that you want to move. And as I said, subtle differences, but it all comes down to these just one small things. And I think if you can focus on, okay, what am I wanting to create right now? What's the just one small thing that I can do that I've got the capacity for right now? Like as we talked about earlier, like, yeah, I'd love to have a clean and tidy house. What's one small thing I can do? I can move this thing. Look, that space is clear now. That's something I get to feel good about. And it may be that gives you the desire to then do one small thing. But the key thing in this sentence, there's a few key things. Just is one, because it's just that. We're focused only on that. That's all that matters in that moment, is that just that thing that you're doing. One, we're doing one thing at a time. We're not worrying about all the other things. We're just doing that one. And small. It's small. It's in alignment with our capacity. It feels doable. And therefore we can do it easily and simply without feeling like it's going to take a lot of effort to get us there. And even if that small thing is you're lying in bed and you just stretch your neck a little bit, that could be just one small thing. Like, I'm really excited about this because I know, like, I can feel in my system the difference this is going to make for me. Like, and I'm sure it's going to make a difference for other people as well. I'm not discounting that. So it's not all about me, but I'm excited because I can already feel how different I feel, and also how much better I feel about the things that I am doing. Like, and the difference that's making to me, the benefit I'm getting from those things I'm doing is so much greater. And I'm really curious, like, how you feel listening to this. Like, this is, I mean, like, is this what some of you are listening to going, yeah, no, it's not as simple? Or are you listening to it going, well, I can do that, but is that really going to make a difference? Or are you listening to going, oh, this could be helpful to me? Like, where are the things that you can see? What are the challenges potentially with this? And it was interesting because there are some potential challenges with this. I spoke to a friend yesterday and we had a conversation about some of them. We're going to get to that in future episodes. But I'm curious, like, because I think this could be really beneficial. And if there are things that people are like, oh, I'm not so sure about this part of it, let us know, because we want to be able to massage this and refine it to make sure that it is something that makes it really feel easy for there to be some form of movement, even in the hardest of times. And so maybe if you're in that space right now and you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, but what about this? Please let us know, because it would be really, like, I would love to do more episodes on this to help you with those things as and when they're coming up. And I'm sure that there are going to be other things that we're going to refine this as it goes forward. But I'm really looking forward to being able to work out regularly as a result of just doing one small thing. Anything you want to add to the conversation before we finish?
I'm good.
Okay, well, I'm so excited. I'm just like, I get little butterflies in my tummy thinking about like what the difference this could make. And so we will be back next week with another episode. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Between now and then, remember to stay safe, take care of yourself, and look after your needs. Lots of love. Bye-bye.
Bye, friends.
That's it for today.
If you like what you heard,
I would like to see some of Serena's awesome facial expressions.
check out the video podcast on YouTube.
And remember, just one small thing can make a big difference.
Well, shit. It really is that simple.